there's a little game that goes on. The game is basically this. They try to take the Bitcoin from your pocket and put it in to their pockets. Because these guys know what the heck is going on. They understand how to play the game, and they also understand how to think long term about assets in a way that most retail investors simply don't do. In today's video, I've got all kinds of crazy information to share with you about the massive amount of Bitcoin buying going on, about the new entities entering the Bitcoin space. It's absolutely crazy. I feel like there was one of those weekends where just like a tsunami of good news was coming out for Bitcoin. And of course, the technicals are looking very interesting at the moment as well. My name's Lark. Every day I make videos talking about cryptocurrency investing. So if that's a topic that you would like to learn some more about, make sure you are a subscriber to the Lark Davis channel, that you are gently tapping on the thumbs up button for the YouTube algorithm, and of course, click on the notification bell to know when I put out a new video. So let's go ahead and take a look at the charts here to get started off with today. This is the weekly charts. We just had our weekly close for Bitcoin. Now you can see, we can zoom in real close here, Bitcoin just edged up over the 21-week exponential moving average. Now this is a line that a lot of people watch for a bull bear signal for Bitcoin. As usual, of course, the exponential moving averages tend to react more closely to recent price action compared to the simple moving averages. I tend to like the simple moving averages a bit more. I feel like there's more conviction when you do have those simple moving averages being conquered. But the exponential moving averages are definitely something worth taking a look at here. Now that is just a tiny little creep above the 21-week exponential moving average. You can see the new week opening up just over here. Plenty of time for that candle to go all over the place over the next 6.5 days. But nice to see anyway. Obviously, what we really want to see is for an entire weekly candle to close above this line. That would obviously be bullish. Now, one interesting thing as well on the weekly I want to talk about before we shoot over to the daily here is this green line. So this green line shows where Bitcoin has had some very serious price resistance in the past. So you can see here, 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 here as well, here, here, and here. Now we have actually closed a weekly candle above that line of resistance. Now this is candle closes and wick tops that I'm counting here. You can decide to count one or both. I'm counting both of them because I think it's interesting to look at all these different data points. But that's a pretty significant breakout in terms of closing above this really key area of resistance. But obviously, we need to keep building on that strength, keep moving forward, and hopefully stay above that. Otherwise, it's just a short-term fake out. But I think that the markets have been showing a lot of strength recently. We've reclaimed a lot of key moving averages, especially if we look over here at the daily charts. So let's go ahead and flip on the 200-day exponential moving average, blue line on the chart here. So we can see that after the initial price breakout, we actually came back down and retested that as a line of support, essentially. Now, we didn't actually get much of a rocket pad effect off of that. We did come back up, obviously, but then came back down where we are currently. The 100-day simple moving average has also come into our range of view here at the moment. You can see we had resistance, resistance, resistance. We finally cracked out above that on the 30th of July, taking out the 100-day simple moving average, came back down. Currently, looks like we are losing the 100-day simple moving average. Perhaps this was just our first test and fake out of reclaiming that very key line. But obviously, the one we really want to take back is the 200-day moving average, and that's still a bit above us here in terms of price. So that's up around $45,000. we still haven't even got up to the point of testing that key moving average. Now, with the market, after having this incredible rally, I mean, just look, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Should make an NFT out of that. Somebody's probably already done that. Anyway, this is an absolutely beautiful run for Bitcoin. Seeing things cooling off a little bit right now, totally to be expected. Now, what I really want to see Bitcoin holding is the 50-day simple moving average. So that is right down here. As you can see, that's currently around $35,000. Now, it's not a massive price drop to get there. So if you're thinking that's craziness, Lark, that's only a 12% price drop to come back down and retest the 50-day simple moving average. I'm not saying that's the most likely scenario to happen. I'm just saying that if we're still trending above the 50-day moving average, we're doing okay. We're doing okay. That is short term, showing that we are reclaiming some bullish ground here. So I like to see that. I've actually got some orders in for different things. If the market does give us some better buying opportunities here over the next couple of days, got some orders in for Bitcoin at $35,000, some orders in for Ethereum at $20,040. All right, $20,000. No, don't buy Ethereum for $20,000, Lark. No, some orders in for Ethereum at $2,040. Some orders in for Polkadot and Luna as well. Polkadot, not such a distant target at $15, and some Luna buys around $9.50. Again, that's, if we get a bit of a market correction coming in over the next few days, we may not get that lower dip, but if we do, I'm prepared. And if it keeps mooning, well, then I'm glad I already have a bucket load of crypto. So that's where I'm at right now. That's where my head is in terms of what's going on in the market currently. But let's see that 50-day simple moving average continue to act as support if we do get any price correction action. That was obviously what we really, really want to see. Hopefully, we'll even see the price of Bitcoin recovering, setting up the 100-day simple moving average as a new line of support. Now, if that were to happen, I think that would be a really bullish thing to be seeing here in the short term for Bitcoin, because the 100-day moving average, very, very important line here for the market. And obviously, one final step to get to the 200-day moving average to say that the bulls have taken charge of the fricking market again. And look, it's easy to get seduced by only looking at the Bitcoin charts as well, but I just want to say that the markets have been looking pretty gosh darn bullish overall. I mean, let's have a look here at Ethereum. This has actually been a pretty beautiful chart recently. So Ethereum currently up testing the 100-day moving average. We are also seeing this beautiful W pattern playing out here for Ethereum. So that's got a breakout target up around $3,000. Now, it's not to say that we're definitely going to get up that far, but it's certainly something interesting to take account of, to be paying attention to, because those W patterns tend to be pretty good patterns here for Ethereum. You can also see as well, this is the 200-day simple moving average for Ethereum. So we had the breakout from that some days back there. So that's actually, again, a really bullish thing to be seeing. We are now back in the bull seat for Ethereum, which I think just serves as a nice reminder that it's not all about Bitcoin, even though this video is going to be all about Bitcoin, except for that little mention about Ethereum. I just wanted to mention that because there's so much going on in the markets right now. And while Bitcoin is still struggling to reclaim those key moving averages and to flip even more bullish than it has over the last week or so, other assets like Ethereum are out there basically playing their own game, doing their own thing, going crazy. By the way, every single week, my team and I produce Wealth Mastery. It is a cryptocurrency investor report. Every single issue, we're covering the latest token sales, latest airdrops. We're reviewing hot cryptocurrencies with a deep dive altcoin report on one altcoin every single issue. We're also doing a step-by-step DeFi tutorial. Last week, we showed you step-by-step how to earn 19.4% using the Anchor protocol. We're doing top tier technical analysis. We're interviewing project leads from some of the most interesting cryptocurrencies out there on the market, as well as loads of other interesting tips and tricks and things going on in the market. Last week, I also shared a complete breakdown of my cryptocurrency portfolio. All of that and much, much more for less than $10 a week, meaning that this is the most value-packed and at the same time the most affordable investor report on the market. Click on the link down below me here in the description where you can learn more about becoming a member. Now let's talk about the transfer of Bitcoin from the impatient to the patient. So this is crazy statistics here to share with you to start off with. Exchanges are down 105,000 Bitcoin in the last 4 days. That is dramatic. That is absolutely mind-blowing amounts of Bitcoin accumulation. In 4 days, more than 100,000 Bitcoin gobbled up off of exchange. I mean, just look at that. Look at that. That's absolutely crazy. Think about this. We are now back to the levels of Bitcoin on exchanges that we had back at nearly the all-time high for Bitcoin. And we're currently significantly below the all-time high for Bitcoin. There is a lot of accumulation going on here. A lot of Bitcoin is being bought and taken off of exchanges. That is a shocking chart right there in terms of Bitcoin accumulation. We also have this. This is shared by Bitcoin Magazine. As short-term speculators and China miners sold over the past 3 months, long-term hodlers bought the dip. So the liquid supply for Bitcoin is now at an all-time low. Incredible. Incredible. So you can see here, this is the this chart here. The yellow line charts the liquid supply for Bitcoin. So the liquid supply is at an all-time low. The liquid supply continues to rise. Anyway, you can see right now it's actually surpassed the peak price back at $65,000. So we can see the supply reached a crescendo back here, obviously dropped significantly during the sell-off. But think about that. Currently, the price of Bitcoin is about 40% under its all-time highs, and yet this metric has passed over where it was at the all-time high price for Bitcoin. There's something going on here in the market, and it's very interesting when you start looking at these on-chain indicators to see where the money's going, what's actually happening here. Now, this is also a very interesting chart to have a look at. This is Bitcoin accumulation trends. So basically, when you have a lot of the buyers basically in the blue zone, right? This is small fish accumulating. This is basically retail showing up late to the party, for example, and buying late, buying the bags of the whales that are exiting the market. When we have lots of red buying, that means that whales, or simply many of the different groups across different sizes, that's your plankton, that's your fish, that's your orcas, that's your whatever sea analogy you want to use here for your crypto buyers, but the whole market participating. So we saw that at the crescendo here for Bitcoin, and now we're seeing that again, where right here you can see an uptick in all buyers. Everybody out there buying Bitcoin right now, but obviously some seriously big aquatic creatures are getting into the game right now with that 100,000 plus Bitcoin exiting exchanges in just the last 4 days. That's not all retail money. That's companies, that's funds, that's millionaires and billionaires gobbling up some Bitcoin. Now, here is some interesting news as well to back up basically everything that's going on right now. It's another one from Bitcoin Magazine. So they said one of Germany's largest asset managers is considering a Bitcoin investment. So this is DekaBank. Now, there is a new law taking effect today that allows Germany's Spezialfonds, I'm sure that has nothing to do with the actual pronunciation of how that's said in German. So all you German speakers out there, you can, tear me apart down in the comment section for that. Anyway, their special funds are now allowed to invest up to 20% of their holdings in Bitcoin. Now, this is a lot of money that we're talking about here. This is 4,000 different German firms that are eligible now to buy Bitcoin. We're talking about trillions of dollars here that is up for potential entry into the market. Now, DekaBank itself has $403 billion in assets under management, which, according then to this new law, means they could invest up to $80 billion in Bitcoin. They're not going to invest $80 billion in Bitcoin. I would be shocked if they actually invested the whole 20%, but are they going to invest $1 billion in Bitcoin? That wouldn't be a big chunk of their fund at all. That would be a very small, a fractional percentage. It wouldn't even be 1%. 1% would be $4 billion. That would just be a 1%. 1%. And we know, because we've talked about these numbers many times here on the channel, just a 1% allocation in your portfolio has very limited downside, and the upside potential is incredible. In fact, anyone over the last, let's say, 5 years that had just 1% Bitcoin in their portfolio dramatically outperformed investors who had 0% Bitcoin in their portfolio. Those who went even heavier and went 3 or 5 or even 10%, again, exponential returns compared to traditional investors investing in traditional funds. Just 1% would be $4 billion for these guys, well below the 20% they'd be allowed to invest. That would be incredible. We have no idea how much they're going to invest, and they said they're only considering it at the moment. They haven't invested. It only opens up for being allowed to invest from today. But this is very interesting. We can see that these German investment managers are indeed taking notice. They're looking at Bitcoin. And if these guys, if DekaBank is out here announcing that they're doing it, that they're considering it, how many of the other 4,000 firms are just going to do it? They're just going to do it. They're not going to go out and make a big fuss about it. They're just going to go out and invest $100 million or $1 billion into Bitcoin, and we'll find out after they've done it. I suspect quite a few personally. So this is an incredible story. We've covered this story here a few times on the channel. It's going. It's happening now. It's happening now. Today is the day when they're legally allowed to start making those investments. So very, very cool stuff right here. We'll see how much of this money actually comes into the market, obviously, but still very exciting stuff. A company called Wealthfront has added Grayscale Bitcoin and Grayscale Ethereum to their product list. So Wealthfront, it is an investment firm with $25 billion in assets. They're now going to let their customers get exposure to Bitcoin and to Ethereum. Customers will be allowed a maximum of 10% combined allocation in Grayscale Bitcoin or Grayscale Ethereum shares based on their preferences. Just another nice little story about more adoption happening, more options for the market to get involved. And look, I don't want to own Grayscale Bitcoin shares. I don't want to own Grayscale Ethereum shares. I like owning my own Bitcoin, owning my own Ethereum. But you guys know there's a lot of people who are just stuck on their brokerage accounts. They're never going to invest in Bitcoin or Ethereum unless it's just handed to them on a silver platter on the brokerage account that they're already on, which is why it's nice to see Wealthfront hopping on board here. It's just more fuel for the bullfire, basically. And we also have this Golden Tree, a $45 billion asset manager, also out there buying Bitcoin. So we've seen a lot of different funds coming in over the last half year to a year, basically. And it started off with big companies like MicroStrategy, and then we saw lots of different funds getting in, and we had some very famous examples too of funds like Ruffer, for example. They bought a whole bunch of Bitcoin, and they basically made $1 billion in profits off of their Bitcoin play. Pretty impressive stuff. I think a lot of funds will have seen that and go, hey, why are we still ignoring Bitcoin? This is crazy. It's obviously an asset class that's here to stay, and the returns that are happening are very impressive. And I think this recent price correction event that we went through will have enticed a lot of these different players to start taking another look at Bitcoin, to start considering making allocations into Bitcoin. Here's another asset manager getting on board. So there's lots of people out there that want to get your Bitcoin. The question is, of course, are you going to sell your Bitcoin to Golden Tree? Are you going to sell it to the German special funds when they come in? Are you going to sell it to the millionaires and the billionaires? Or are you going to hodl onto that Bitcoin, wait for it to reach $1 million a Bitcoin or $500,000 per Bitcoin? I still think $500,000 is a totally reasonable long-term goal for the price of Bitcoin. Higher would not surprise me at all. I'm taking it one step at a time here, guys. $500,000 Bitcoin, that's my next step. There'll be a lot of these big funds, these millionaires and billionaires and all these different retail investors. Remember, everybody's buying Bitcoin right now. That's what the chart was showing us. That's what the accumulation chart is showing us. All the groups are buying. The whales are buying. The smaller investors are buying. The mid-scale investors are buying. Everybody wants to get a piece of that Bitcoin pie. The amount of Bitcoin on exchanges dropping dramatically. It's only a matter of time. I'm going to keep hodling my Bitcoin personally. Anyway, your question for today. Do you think that we're going to see a bunch of these special German funds coming out this week announcing Bitcoin buys? Or maybe it's going to be one of those kind of big fat nothing burger kind of situations where, yeah, they're allowed to do it, and some of them said they're considering doing it, but, you know, maybe none of them are actually going to do it. Maybe they're too conservative, these funds, etc., etc. Curious to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and peace out till next time.